instead of closing costs. So I think because of that, is for a buyer, I don't know where, like, because a lot of people ask me, like, should I buy right now? I'm like, it depends on if you're able to buy, because I don't know, because right now, because a lot of people are working from home, we have a lot of people coming into our area and the prices keep on going up. So there's no crystal ball to say whether or not they're going to continue to go up. If you can do it and if you can play in this market, you should do it. But if not, it might be a good time to wait. So it's really dependent on the buyer and what their financial situation is.
Okay, well, that's really good to know. So for anyone looking to sell, you heard it, capitalization is key right now. You can, the homes are appreciated on the market. It's time to sell. I do have a question from someone who is actually looking to purchase a resale and use their current home, and they want to know which of the proceeds of sale, which will be the proceeds of sale, the processes rather of sale, and how much time do they have to sell their current home? So they're looking to resell using their current home. What's the process of that and how much time do they have?
Okay, so one question we also receive is, should we sell now or buy? Should we sell before we buy, or should we buy before we sell? I think that's the line of the question. It all depends. All depends if you're able to sell, if you're able to buy without selling what you have, meaning are you able to go under contract with non-contingent? Now, if your loan is contingent on you selling this house, you have to sell it at the same time. Now, we can work it where you find the house that you're looking for, you start to prep your house to get on the market. If you need to do painting, if you need to declutter, just to make sure that you get top dollar. Now, once you get under contract, once you receive a contract on your house, then you have an estimated closing date, so that when you find the next house, then you know what settlement date to put on the next house, meaning that you can close on the two transactions on the same day.
Okay.
We also see situations where you could sell and rent back from your house. Rent back like 1 or 2 weeks from your house, meaning that you become a tenant. Because it's a seller's market, we'll see buyers actually offering sellers free rent back, so that you would have already sold this house and then you're free of the mortgage to be able to buy the next house. So how long will it take? It all depends on how quickly your house goes under contract, and then finding the house that you're looking for.
Awesome.
I think it's a delicate balance right now, because because right now, like Billy was saying, if you say if there are 7 offers and you say, well, I want to buy your house, but I have to sell my house to get the money to buy your house, your offer is not going to be chosen
because it's contingent on the sale of your house.
So what a lot of people, what we've been doing is that we have been getting our sellers under contract on the sale of their house. And then once we at least get through the home inspection, if there's one, then we know that the buyer is moving forward. Then we are taking our sellers shopping and trying to get that simultaneous settlement. But it is a tricky situation, but it can be done. It's being done all the time. We actually have one that we just did the same thing. Is just putting the seller's house under contract and just praying that you guys are going to get out there aggressively within the next week or something and find something for the seller to be able to move in.
Okay, fair enough. And you guys are well poised at doing that. So this is a shameless plug, but if you're looking to purchase a home in the local area, feel free to reach out to Sold 100. We have another question in the chat. It says, in this hot market, do sellers avoid VA loans because sometimes they may take a little longer to close?
Not really. We're not seeing VA loan being avoided, not unless it's a condominium and the condominium is not approved. But we do think that we'll see a lot of condominiums being approved now. So it's not, the sellers don't, what do you think? I mean, I don't see any.
Yeah, well, I think what they're asking is that, so if you have 3 buyers, the first person is offering cash. Cash is king. So they're going to go with the cash buyer. If you have a VA and a conventional buyer, they're probably going to go with conventional, especially if somebody's putting a lot of money down because they feel like they have more skin in the game. Sometimes there has been a stigma in the past that with VA, the appraisers will be kind of strict and they might say, oh, you need to fix this, or they're not as strict as they used to be. But sometimes some realtors might feel like, oh, you have a VA loan, it could be a problem. But like Billy is saying, if it definitely would be a problem if it's a condo, because if it's a condo, then it would have to be the subdivision would need to be VA approved for the buyer to be able to purchase it. So if you have a VA buyer and a conventional buyer buying for the same property, then the conventional buyer is probably going to win. But what I will say is, because we just had a VA buyer that closed on Friday. So it really depends on the situations. I'm seeing a lot of people going after the same home. And if you're a little bit flexible and you're like, you know what, I don't need to have the nicest house on the block, but I just need to own some real estate, and I like the land and I can fix it up. If you're flexible in what you want, I think that as a VA buyer, you can still succeed. But are you going to be able to compete against the person who's putting 20 or 30% down? Probably not.
Another thing to add on the VA is that VAs will make the seller pay for the termite inspection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if it's VA, then the seller is paying it. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, so we've learned that cash is king, right? And we definitely want to lead with that if at all possible. But what about other factors like my credit score, right? What type of range should I be striving for if I'm looking to purchase a home?
Usually I'm seeing like at least with 640, you can get help. And honestly, if you're any lower than that, you might want to be very careful, because this same VA buyer that I'm telling you about, the lender was not as forthcoming with presenting the buyer's documents and everything. And at the end, I saw that the buyer's interest rate was like 4.83%. Now, keep in mind, the average interest rate right now is like 2.83%. But because the buyer had a low credit score, he was taken advantage of by the lender. So it's just something that you have to keep in mind. You might just need to, I would say, go online and Google average interest rate. If the average interest rate is 3% and they're telling you 4.8353%, then there's something wrong. But sometimes, people are so desperate, they want to get a home that they're willing to do anything to get it.
And to that also, I will add, if you're not on the borderline, I will always advise clients to try and get to weigh options. Check out another lender, because that's the only way you're gonna figure that, oh, they're giving me the best interest rate. How else will you know if you don't check out someone else? But be careful with the credit score. If possible, tell them not to run your credit. Say, hey, this is what my credit score is. Can you give me your good faith estimate, GFE? Then they will be able to give you what interest rate they can give you based on your credit score and your DTI. At that point, you can know what you're working with. Debt to income ratio, DTI.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for answering that. We have another question from the chat. It says, in this DMV seller's market, how do you think about new builds? For instance, if the market shifts away from the seller's market, do the builds typically hold their value?
Honestly, there's a saying in real estate that if you want the cheapest that you're ever going to get the house is when you see like the trailer in the yard, like nothing's there and nobody knows that's the cheapest you're going to be able to get the house. Because once that house is built and that neighborhood is established, there is a trend that the home values will go up. Now, we know that when the market tanked, like everyone suffered. But typically with the new construction properties, you will get it at the lowest point when they first start to build them, before the neighborhood is, because a lot of people are not as visual, like they don't quite see the community. But once the neighborhood is already established, then they are like now ready to make a move and submit an offer. So like I said, again, the same thing with that beach home that we were talking about. When they put the stick in the ground, that's the time that you need to kind of be ready to make an offer if you're interested in. But definitely, and new construction right now actually is the way a lot of buyers are kind of beating out the multiple offer situation, is that they're going directly to the builder, because the builder will kind of let them know, okay, we have 3 lots available. Pay your deposit and you can get this lot. or if you wait until Monday, it's going to be gone. So you kind of have that versus submitting an offer and bidding against 25 other people.
Well, be careful now. My advice to you when you go to the builders directly, just it's like you go into court to defend yourself or go to court with no attorney involved. Our advice is always find a good realtor to go with on your first visit to a new construction site.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you write your name, once you get on the contract, they're not going to let a realtor defend you or represent you. There are three most important meetings in a new construction. You know, the contract signing, and then you're going to get the pre-drywall meeting, pre-construction meeting, and then the drywall, and then the settlement when it's all done. See, you guys are all excited when you're picking out your options, picking out that. Before they do the drywall, you want to make sure that the type of insulation that they're using. I mean, do you know that? You need your realtor to be there. You need your realtor to interpret for you what they are doing and what options you guys have chosen to make sure that these things are actually, they did put in all the things that you paid for. And then you're going to get a settlement. Yes, it's a new construction. So we'll always advise you to get a home inspection done at home for new construction. Now, the builder wants all that done nicely. But how about the contractors? How about the engineers that actually did it? They might have missed something. You're not going to know. Your home inspector is going to pick it out for you. So don't look at the cost. It's important. Just do it a home inspection and go with an agent that you trust.
Okay. So for the new builds, you know, they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and you can hopefully strike really fast, as you said, when that plot is there in order to secure the cheapest or more cost-effective price. For those of us that have already set our eyes on something that's so magnificent to us, a home that's already built, we should probably take along our realtors to make sure that we are cognizant of those things like the insulation and the drywall and et cetera. We have another question about the home buying rebate. Can you explain to us what that is?
Okay, well, I think like it depends on the real estate company. So
Okay.
Some agents will, there are some like credit unions, they might do a rebate to their members. That's a certain percentage of the, there's a certain of the commission that the agent will now give to give back to the buyer as a rebate. So it really depends. Not everybody does, not all agents do rebates, but everything is negotiable in real estate. So you could definitely, you could ask, but not all agents do that. But a rebate would be a situation where an agent would maybe credit the buyer a certain percentage of their commission.
To have them at closing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. And I know we've talked a lot about new builds and things of that nature and buying our first home, et cetera. But then there's also the other world of buying foreclosure properties. So can you walk us through that process and tell us, if there's any differences between buying a foreclosed home versus buying a traditional home?
Okay, so buying in a foreclosure, obviously,
it's 7 o'clock.
Foreclosure is the house that somebody lived in, they owned it from ground up, and something happened, and they were not able to make the mortgage payment, and eventually they couldn't give it back to the bank, and they refused to give it up, and the bank would forcefully take you from them. Now, what is foreclosure? That's forceful taking over. So they were not doing any maintenance. Mm-hmm. So they usually will walk away from the house with water leaks and mold and all of that. So you are coming in to buy a foreclosure, just know that there's gonna be some work done by you. Mm-hmm. You may not pass inspection, but we do see some banks sometimes, depending on how badly the house is and how much they owe on it, the banks can come in and do initial cleanup, right? So how can you buy it? There are two ways. There's a loan called 203K loan. It's a construction loan that the bank can give you where, for instance, if the property is $300,000 as is value, our ARV, which is after repair value, could be at $350,000. the bank can qualify you up to 350. Now they will give you the initial money, which is the 300 to purchase the property, and turn around and give you the draw. You'd have to have the contractor who is assigned a license, obviously, that will not draw that money 3 times and start to fix the property before you move into the house. So that's one way to buy a foreclosure, where you use your 2 or 3K loan. And
that's if it needs a lot of work.
That's if it needs a lot of work. And then you have to be a first-time home buyer also to get that 2 or 3K loan. If you're not a first-time home buyer and you can use cash, again, cash is king. If you don't have cash, you can use conventional before you start to go down to FHA, because FHA depends on how much work the property needs. So the more work you need, the less you can use FHA, the less you can use conventional, because they're going to want to make sure that that house is livable. All right.
Thank you for that. And kind of toggling back to the COVID-19 question theme, I know you talked about foreclosures and it being where the bank forcefully taking over, and maybe the upkeep on the property isn't the best. But have you commonly seen, or at least in the last year or so, any scenarios where, perhaps the house was kept pretty well, but unfortunately the financial strife that this past year has brought just caused someone to lose their home, and you're able to kind of cash in, so to say, on a steal?
Yeah, so we'll see that. But again, because there's a ton of people in the market.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, but like there's a lot of memoranda that they're not really foreclosing yet. It is coming.
Yeah.
But even with evictions, they're not. If you're not paying your rent, they're not evicting you yet. So I have seen people who have not paid rent for like a year or 2 years, and they're still kind of, I think as long as you can kind of have a conversation with the bank, like, listen, this is where I am. I lost my job. I'm applying for jobs. I think, as long as you're kind of staying in conversation, I really, have you been seeing anybody? Well, you had a situation where they forced.
Where we forced somebody out of the house. Well, that's because their lease. It's not a foreclosure.
I'm talking about the lady that you were trying to, they were like trying to sell her house at the courthouse or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but how long had it been since she had paid her?
She hadn't paid for almost a year.
Oh,
okay.
So they are doing it. Okay.
They are doing it, but she was able to stop. We're able to help her to stop that foreclosure.
Okay.
And then she sold it on regular market, because again, she had equity in the house. It made no sense for her to, go deep down and don't get up at all. So we kind of helped her out, and she was able to save her home. From going into foreclosure, because when you go into foreclosure, you lose your equity, you lose all that money.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that what you said about the equity. That's very important, because a lot of times people are going through a lot of stuff. They are maybe like depressed or going through different things, and they don't have the energy to try to get this house ready. They don't want to do anything, but they have equity in the house. And then now you have, and I'm seeing this a lot in DC, you'll have like a lot of investors sending people letters telling them, oh, I'm going to buy your house. Don't worry about anything. Leave everything in there, but I'm going to buy it for $300,000 when the house is really worth, with just cleaning it would be worth $400,000 or $500,000. I'm seeing a lot of that. So I think that, yeah, I know that you are going through a lot of stuff. Just still reach out to a professional. We have a free moving truck. We have people who can help to haul everything out of the house. We can kind of come in, give you guys a plan of what you need to do, or we give our clients plans of what they need to do, but don't lose your equity. And we also have a program, like Billy was saying, where we can come in, we'll paint, we'll do renovations and everything, so that you can get top dollar for your house. We're going to get paid back for the renovations that we did, but at least that way you can get top dollar, because sometimes a coat of paint and just being clean can be the difference in you selling your house for $300,000 or $375,000. Just clean the house and do the bare minimum, and let people be able to walk through the house and see it, and you have a stronger chance, especially in this market, of getting multiple offers.
And that program is called the broker paid rehab. So we come in, we pay for the rehab of your property, and we pay for it, and then we just get reimbursed at closing at zero interest. Idea is just to make you more money, make you happy, and then of course you can tell your friends and family that, oh hey, you were able to help me get me some more money.
Absolutely. We love referrals here. So that'd be amazing. Just to kind of toggle back a bit, as far as, getting the home or the foreclosure property, whatever the case may be, getting more value for it, more bang out of your buck. Do you guys offer any type of like staging type services where you can perhaps help someone who may need a little sprucing, here and there for their home?
Yeah, so I actually have a background in fashion merchandising, so I didn't think I would need it in my life, but guess what? Now I'm kind of serving as like an interior, like a fake interior designer. I'm not going to say a real one, but I think we will come into the house and we will assess, we will kind of, the first, if we were selling your house, the first thing you would do is invite us in. And then once we come in, we will walk through the house and we will jot down things that we see with the buyer's eyes, because we've walked through homes with thousands of buyers, so we know what buyers are looking for and what they like and what they don't like. And so we'll walk through the house, we'll tell you those things that you need to do. We will, like just a couple of weeks ago, we had a seller who we're helping an agent out, and her client had been in the house for like 30 years. So there was 30 years of stuff, and they didn't really throw anything away. It was 30 years of stuff in the house. So Billy first met with them last year and kind of like told them what they needed to do to declutter. And when I went back, they had decluttered, but there was still a lot of stuff in the house. So we had to do another a conversation where we just kind of said, like, I just had to say, like, this is what needs to be, you need to take this out, you need to take that out. And they did it, and they put the house on the market, and they were under contract within a week. So it's just sometimes, but so we do offer those services as far as, and if it's right now, Billy has a house that he's gonna, like a luxury home that he's about to put on the market in a couple of weeks. And he's been working with these sellers now for a couple of weeks just trying to get everything ready. And at that point, we will bring in like a professional staging company if the house is vacant, and we do renovations as well. And we sometimes bring in professional staging companies just to make the house look nice and personable, because a lot of times people like to see how their things would fit in the house. They're more visual.
Because the whole aim really is to make you more money. Mm-hmm. So if the staging is going to cost $1,000 to make you $9,000, why not?
Mm-hmm. It's a good return on investment.
So it's called ROI, return on investment. It's high.
Good. Yeah, well, we like ROIs as well. And I hope you guys are jotting down these gems. One being cash is king, right? That's our mantra for the night. So we've talked about the foreclosure area. Now, switching over into the commercial, right? For our new business owners, or maybe our small business owners who are looking to take their online business to more of a retail space, what is that process like for being able to purchase a retail space for first timers?
Okay, so commercial real estate is a different animal. So you just have to be careful, watch the area, location, whatever business you're looking to do in that area, look around and see who your competition is. Because you don't want to put this, that, and then you return it with competition. So once you find out, then you're looking at the square footage. Because commercial real estate is all about square footage. Forget about how nice the walls are or the lights are. That's not for you. Because once you come in with your business, you have to build it out to see. And now the lenders that will give you the loan to buy commercial, so again, it's totally different animal. That's why we can help you, connect you with commercial lenders. Exactly. And what they are going to ask is to see if your financials, obviously, and then for the financial from the seller, if it's a multiple unit, they want to see a rent roll. The rent roll is, the rent collected from all other businesses attached to that building, just to know how profitable it's going to be. And then they want to see your tax return for the business. If the business has been if you've just owned it for less than 3 years, they want to see that you're making profit. So if you've been filing losses on your taxes, it's going to be a little challenge. Plus, they're going to ask about 20% depending on, your down payment. And then you as the owner, you have to support the business. So it's not just, oh, I have an LLC. Let me use my LLC to buy this business, to buy this building. You would have to be part of it. So look at your credit score because you'll be part of that deal.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much for that. And then closer to some of our last questions, unless some of our other attendees have questions here, can you run through and give us from your experience, your many years of experience, can you tell us about some of the myths that you've seen or encountered of home buying, and sort of debunk some of the things that you've been asked or mentioned to you?
Oh, I know, like one of them could be just thinking, just is that realtors are like car salesmen and pushy and stuff like that. Like a lot of times people like they just come with their guns cocked, they're ready for war because they think that the real estate agent wants to take advantage of them. And I think right now I think that there are so many real estate agents out there, and there's so many opportunities for you to meet with different people. You can just kind of interview different agents and kind of figure out, I guess, the person who you have the best rapport with. So definitely, a lot of agents are also kind of coming from a place of contribution and trying to actually help you. And like Billy was saying, we run our business by referral, so we are not trying to push anything on anybody that they don't want. We're gonna, tell you what, tell you about. If you want to sell your house, we're going to tell you what you need to do. If you want to buy a house, we're going to tell you what you need to do and show you properties, and it's going to be up to you. Can you think of like any other myths that people might have? Oh, short sale. I'm sorry, just before you said, the people, when they hear the term short sale, they think that, oh, it's short, when it's actually like a pretty long and arduous process. So yeah, short sales typically take like 3 to 6 months. So it's not short like the name that you would think of in the name.
So short sale really, in all sense, short sale means that the bank is taking short of what is owed to them. So if they're owed 200,000, the house is going to sell for 180. Eventually, they'll get 160. So they are taking short on the short end of it. It's not the length of time. It's actually a long process. It is a process because the bank who's taking the loss, they need a lot of paperwork, just to support that you're having financial. You're going through a hardship, and so they go through all of that. Other things on buyers means home inspection. Property is being sold as is. So what does that mean? It's sold as is, and then what? We're gonna do home inspection. I want the seller to change the roof. I want the seller to do this, or I'm asking, the seller put the house on the market to make the most money. So if they know that the roof is bad and they can change it for $2,000, why would they give you $10,000 for home inspection repair? Unless they don't have the money, then you guys can negotiate. So come in to buy and have room to negotiate. Don't be uptight. Just come in and have room to negotiate. Another thing is, okay, you have your list. The search criteria. I want to have this, that, garage.
Yes.
You may not get all.
You might not even get most of it in this market. I think that
just have room to let go.
I think another like misconception, like when some buyers call me, is like they think that they're the only buyer that wants this house. So, we're gonna go see the house and we'll call you on Monday, and the house is going by tomorrow. So just that whole misconception of like, okay, well, I know I'm qualified and I have my pre-approval letter. Yes, so do like 50 other people right now. So it's just kind of just understanding that you're not the only person buying and just being cognizant of the market.
Okay, fair enough. So we have to set realistic values and goals when we're looking for our next property or home or such. I do have a question from the panelists here. It said, for people who want to get into real estate investments, what do you think is the best type of investment to start with, like rentals or flipping, etc.?
Okay, so I will default to your statement, rentals. I want you to start with rental, buy your first rental property, rent it out, and see how your return is. See how the tenants are behaving. See if you're making profit, if you're building equity. Because you need money to go into flipping homes. You can't come in flipping homes. So okay, let me go in and pay my down payment, or depend on hard money lender. So you want to start with that, become a landlord, because you might buy that it might buy that flipping property, and then by the time you're done fixing it up, your profit is gone. You'll be forced to hold it. So it's called buy and hold. So if you're forced down to holding it, then what do you do if you've never been a landlord? So I will walk before I run.
Yeah, Billy was just telling me because there's a property that that we have that I think how much were you paying for? How much was the tenant paying for rent?
Or the one in Oklahoma?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Ripon is one property that we bought. We try to flip it. By the time, again, there's a lot of unknown when you buy the property. We got this property on a foreclosure. It was looked bad, but we didn't know it was that bad. When we took off the hardwood floor, we saw, oh my God, look at termite. I mean, the termites, so we had to do from 15,000 worth of work, he got into 45,000. To sell it didn't make sense. We're just gonna make a couple of thousands on it, like 3,000-4,000. So we ended up renting it out. So buy and hold. We held it. We put it on the rent for 1,900. Tenant just moved out, and again, that's why I would say go rental. If you want to invest, go rental right now. We're going on the market on today's what? Today's Wednesday. Went on a week at night at 2250. We had over 18 applications to rent that townhouse, a 3-bedroom, 2 full bed townhouse, and almost 6 out of that got approved, and they were adding money on top of the rent. So we got $150 on top of what we wanted for that, and they were willing to pay more. So if you want to go into real estate investing, I would say start with buying a rental property. You will get a good tenant. You will get a good tenant. And now why? The question is, why do you have a lot of people looking to rent? Now they say work from home, right? But our government said everybody work from home, or people are coming out, kids are at school. If you have a home, the person that can work from home is who has a home. If you don't have a home, what you gonna do? And you can buy, what you gonna do? Rent, right? And if you're working from home and you live in an apartment, 1 floor, and you're having to work from home, the wife is working from home, the kids are homeschooling, you need an apartment, you need a bigger space, you need to go rent. So there's a ton of people. That's one. Two is that because a lot of landlords, they're doing what they call buy and hold, properties are appreciating so high, this is the time to sell the rental property. So landlords are giving, no, we're not renewing your lease. This is the time for us to sell it. We want to sell it now. The value is so high. Oh, wow, look at that. The value is so high. Let's sell it now.
Yeah.
So with not renewing leases, you find out that current tenants are having to be displaced, unfortunately.
And people need a place to stay.
Absolutely.
Bottom line, people need places to stay. There was another rental that we had, and same thing. Got like a really great deal on it. Did some renovation, and then we got a call from somebody who, was handicapped, and it fit her needs perfectly. So it felt really good to be able to have something to offer. Just instead of me being the person who's paying rent, now I can offer a home to somebody as well. So yeah, I think that because I think there's a quote with real estate that said like, he who owns the land owns the law. So you need to own some land here. We need to become homeowners. We need to have multiple properties. We need to have the beach properties. We can do it. We just need to live conservatively, and so that we can achieve our other goals.
And without discouraging the person that as a Christian, you want to do it in flipping, yes, you should. I mean, that's good revenue in flipping homes. But I'll encourage you to, do your due diligence. The key is to buy low. The lower you can purchase, which are acquisition, and then look at your repair cost versus your ARV, which is after repair value. Try to stay in your state. Try to pick up properties closer to home.
First.
As we tell people during our classes, we do have classes that we give the do's and don'ts of flipping homes. So we can talk to you about that offline, whoever that asks that question. It's a long class, so we can talk about it after this session.
Thank you so much. That's great advice. I do have another question, and they asked, can you explain to the homeowners how they can use their home equity line of credit in order to buy investment properties like apartments or hotels or maybe even Airbnbs, et cetera, in order to create and build wealth?
I'll let you do that because you do investment.
Okay, so how can you use your home equity to invest in property, correct?
Right.
Well, that's a more of a lending question because you'd have to qualify to carry. Well, it's better to do your line of credit than to go and get a new loan, depending on how much equity you have.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's more of your lending question than how can you find out, can you do it? Yes, you can.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that just be careful, because I know people are definitely doing that. I have a young lady right now that has multiple properties, and she was able to take out equity from one of the properties she has to put 20% down to buy something else. But when you do that equity line of credit, or when you do that refinance where you're drawing money out, you are kind of almost like you having like a new loan, or if you take out the equity line of credit, you have to pay it back. So I remember, like, many years ago, I had a friend who that's what he was doing. He would buy one house, but then when the market crashed and he owed like all this money, and he had to end up trying to like liquidate all the property. So you can do it, but just make sure that like people like who do it with their homes, like I've even told Billy, like, I'm like, let's take some money out, let's do something. But when you do it with your home, what happens when the property values drop? Then you are kind of like stuck, and you can't really do so. You want to just weigh everything and then make an educated decision. But just make sure that when you take that money out, that you can if you take that money out of the box, that you're making like you're making like an actual good investment. Because if it's a bad investment, then it can kind of go wrong with the property that you're currently in.
Great. Thank you. You guys have been really dropping some gems tonight. But everyone in the questions wants to know your personal story. So tell us a little bit about yourself, about why and how you guys got into the industry.
Oh, how do we get into real estate? Okay, well, history. I was in the healthcare industry. I kind of figured, I want to do something that I don't have to wake up in the morning. I'm not that morning person. I don't have to wake up.
Even though you wake up early now.
Well, but not as early as if I was still in the healthcare industry, because then you have to go do 7 to 3, 3 to 11. I respect, there are people that love them to death. My father, I'll give them discount if you guys want to buy a house, because I know you don't enjoy your morning sleep. However, I kind of wanted something that I could up and go, and then I could provide housing, to people. So, and that's how I kind of, said, let me go take this class. And then I bought my first home, and then right on the table, they passed on the check to the agent. And I met this agent like 2 weeks before we got on the table. And then I kind of looked, I'm like, hold up, what's that thing? This guy just made $7,000 right now. It's in 2 weeks. I'm like, hold up, I must be doing something wrong. I must be dancing to the wrong music right here. And look, I showed him, we went to see this townhouse in my car. So I picked him up, took him to the house, got back, offer got accepted, 2 weeks we've closed. He just made money. Like, okay, I gotta find what class this is. So, and that was it. And that was in Long and Foster, and that was almost, it's going to 18 years now. And, and then I love real estate because that's how I found my wife, She said to you guys that we met in the real estate conference. If I didn't change career, obviously, I wouldn't have been so blessed.
Oh, beautiful. That's a very beautiful story. I love it. So I do have questions asking about, what advice would you give for individuals, maybe even like myself, that are looking to go into the real estate profession. And the number one question, is your company hiring?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're always hiring, and we're committed to like having, professionals in our office that want to give back, who are committed. I mean, we work pretty hard, and a lot of times people will kind of tell us like, oh, we want to get into real estate, and then they'll kind of join our office, and they'll kind of be like, what's going on here, because this is how Billy told the story of that happening. How about you can work for 3 months with a client, and they tell you, and then you call them and they say, oh, well, I bought a house with somebody else. Or you can show homes to somebody for a year and they buy a house with somebody else. Or you can be in this market. I remember, I think it was maybe February or March of this year. And I did not get one offer accepted. One offer accepted that month. I was getting knocked out at every turn. One offer accepted. So if you want to, I think number one for real estate is that, yes, there is money to be made in this business, right? But but you also have to have like the grit to do it and to be able to handle rejection and just kind of dust, like somebody unsubscribe from your email, or they will fire you after you've kind of shown them 30 million. You have to just be able to kind of wipe it off. Don't take it personally and kind of get back out there. You also need to have some time to dedicate towards it, because I know a lot of times people want to do it part-time, and but can you really do anything part-time? I mean, maybe you can, depending on if you just want to maybe sell one house a month. I see a lot of part-time agents that know how to manage their time. Yes, like they have that 2 hours, 3 hours, and they're making their calls, they're following up with their clients, they're showing homes during that time. So if you can do that, then it definitely will work for you. Also, if you're somebody who needs to get paid, you need like a set salary, then it's not going to work, because like I said, you will get commission when you go to the table, and not a minute before. And so like, I don't really count any money until we go to settlement. Once we get to settlement, I'm like, yes, but until then, I don't even count it as closed until that happens. But what you will do, like, so my story is that I had a background in fashion merchandising and business, and I was in New York working, and then I came back to Maryland and I started doing retail. And I think for me, real estate was when I was very young, and I came to this country, and I was living with my grandfather in Germantown, and with my sister Mima. I think I remember us going to like an open house, and at the time it was Riker Realtors. They had like the yellow balloons, they had cookies and all that stuff. It was an open house, and they were really, really nice to us. And I always remember that from that time. And then when I was in New York, I was considering it, but then I wasn't quite sure how safe it was going to be in New York. And then when I came here, I was at one of my friend's house, and she was like, she had a picture of the real estate agent on her refrigerator. My friend Zoe, who was actually my first client, she was like, but Monson, I think you can do what he's doing. You can do this. And and that's how I took the test. And I think the class is like, how many hours?
60 hours.
It's a 60-hour class. And a lot of people are like, okay, it's a 60-hour class. And then you have to, so first you have to take the hours. And now you can even do it online. They have a website called the ceshop.com. And you can go on there. And I think the class is no more than $300. So you can take the class. And then once you take the class, that's the first step. After you take the class, then you have to pass the state and the federal exams, right? So you do that. Then you become a licensed realtor. Then you do need to have some money, because it's 7:30. It is a business. So you have to have money for your, just number one, just if you're like business cards, and if you were doing marketing, you have to have money for that. And you don't need to start with a whole lot of money, but you do need to have some kind of capital, because, and I wouldn't recommend quitting your job, because I did do retail for like about a year before I went into real estate full time. And then I also was working for another real estate agent while I kind of learned the business. So you don't just, they talk about real estate, they talk about sowing seeds and planting, and you plant and you plant and you sow the seeds and you sow the seeds and you sow the seeds. And then now 10 to 17 years later, you see the result of it. So a lot of people look at us and like, oh, you're doing real estate. They think that they're going to come on the scene and they're going to do it. And some people are doing it, especially with formats like Instagram, and they're like, you know, doing their videos and they're meeting people, and they are like putting their signs everywhere, and they are doing it. So if you think you can do that kind of guerrilla marketing, definitely that can work. But for somebody like me and for Billy, it took some time of planting the seeds and developing the relationships. And now, and I think it was at my 10-year mark in real estate where I finally got out of the red, where I was not like going to do my taxes and like, man, like I'm losing money doing this business, where I was finally out of the red and I started to see a profit, and it's going on from there. So I'm just going to tell you that that don't get discouraged, and don't look at me and say, oh, I want to be a real estate, I'm going to be doing this now, because this is 17 years in of grinding every day, all day. Like, we're actually, you know, going on vacation for the first time in a year next, you know, and because the market has been so crazy, and we've had to be here to do this. So so some people need to have their sleep on Saturday and Sunday. You know, Saturday, we take Sundays off most of the time, but we still have to kind of
try to take
Sundays off. We don't but you still, like, if somebody wants to write an offer and the offers are due at 5 o'clock, I can't tell you, well, tough, I'm off today. Nobody really wants to hear that. They want their offer in, and they want it in by 3. They don't want it in by 5. They want it in by 3 or 2, or they actually want it in by 9 o'clock in the morning, because they want it in right now. So you're going to have to just be ready to give up some of your time. And like I said, like we're hiring, and we're always happy to mentor agents. So if anybody's interested, I think our contact information should have been in the link, and we're happy to answer any questions you have offline.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And that's a great transition. I did want to make sure that we're able to follow you on all of your social media outlets, the Instagram, the LinkedIn's, wherever you guys are situated at, as well as visiting the Sold 100 website. It is phenomenal. And there's some pretty great stories about everyone in their start into real estate there. It's very beautiful. If anyone has any additional questions, feel free to reach out to them. I will drop the website in the chat message here, so you'll have accessibility to them as well. Did you guys have any closing remarks with all of the gems that you shared with us today that you wanted to send?
Well, I want to thank everybody for giving us the opportunity to, kind of share our knowledge, share what we've gathered in the last 17, 18 years. There's more, which, time permitting, we will give you more. We will, if somebody's asking a question, that's great. We'll come to that. So feel free to ask questions. We're here for you. We can answer questions. Like Martina was saying, we can come into your house. It's a free consultation, tell you what you need to do to get top dollar. If you're not able to do it, we can help you and pay for that rehab. Again, it's called broker paid rehab. At no interest to you, we will get reimbursed at closing. Why we do it is just so you can be happy and tell your neighbors and tell your friends. And of course, we got the listed. We want to sold 100 signs in front of your house. So yeah, that's key for us. And then back to what she was saying about the training, the people that want to get into the business. Don't be scared. Don't think that, okay, once I pass it, I'm now what? What am I going to do? No, we do have trainings. We do have trainings. We have one coming up tomorrow, the first Thursdays of every month. And then we have, startup training. Once you pass your exam and come on board, we have this crash program that really push you to, keep starting your career, to higher levels. Again, she had given you an advice: say, don't quit your current job yet. Don't quit yet. The real estate trend will tell you when to do that. Once you start closing 3-4 deals a month, and then you look at your year to date, like, okay, it looks like in 3 months I've made what I was making over here. Let me go and see if I can put in some more time in this thing. Yeah. Then that will. You will tell, your bank account will tell you when to make that jump.
The decision. And then the other thing is that sometimes you can like we have agents that are showing agents and they get paid hourly. So there's opportunities to make money that doesn't necessarily mean that you just are waiting on the commission, because sometimes, like when you're first starting out, your sphere of influence, they might not have that faith in you to kind of say, well, this is my biggest investment, I want you to sell it. And they might not feel like you have enough experience, but you can work with other experienced agents. Like right now, we're looking for we're looking for people to show homes for us, because we have so many buyers that want to go out, and it's us and then our staff of people. So we're always hiring, we're looking to grow, and we are looking for good people. So if you definitely think that you're interested in real estate, definitely reach out to us, and we can talk about different opportunities that exist for you in this business, in investing, in serving as a real estate agent, showing associates. We have, there's a lot of room to grow, and there's enough for everybody, and we're happy to share whatever knowledge we have.
And where are my investors? What are my home flippers? Come on, let's talk. I want to talk to you guys. Let's share the do's and don'ts of flipping homes. There's money in flipping homes, so you gotta be careful. People ask me, where do you find the properties? The golden part is actually in the off-market deals.
Yeah.
It's called off-market. You gotta grab it before it hit the market. Wholesalers have it, but where do you find those wholesalers?
And I was gonna say too, when you were talking about finding deals, I was thinking about sometimes people. You might know a neighbor. There might be people that like it might be like I've had a lot of people. Number one, are buying properties from if you are currently renting and it's a townhouse. I've been having some clients that have been able to do very well in this market just by buying it from their landlord, because they already have a relationship with them.
Yeah, one just happened, right?
Yeah, we just have somebody. Actually, I have like 3 people that's happening right now, where they're buying directly from their landlords because they already have that established relationship, and they know that if the landlord puts the house on the market, they might get multiple offers, but then they have to like worry about like maybe fixing things and things like that. So they just rather go with the person that they already know that's been paying them the rent all this time. Also, like family, like sometimes like family members, somebody might be at a risk for losing their home. Like I have people call me and they ask me, like, we have a family property, what can we do? And you can kind of call us, and we can kind of, even if we can't necessarily purchase it, we might be able to match you with an investor who can. There are a lot of people who want to do that. So, and you can and once you get your license, you don't even have to necessarily sell real estate. You can just refer business, and you get 25% of the commission just by referring people, just by working your contacts, people who already know you, like you, trust you, and want to work with you. So, and we can partner up on deals like that. So like I said, the sky is the limit, and we're open to kind of, speaking to people about their individual needs. And it was a real pleasure to kind of talk to you guys. I know it's like a Wednesday night and people have things to do, but the fact that you are dedicated and you took the time to come on the call, it really means a lot to us, and let us know how we can help in any way.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, both of you, Billy and Matane. You guys have been phenomenal for tonight, answered numerous questions, and there's many more coming in. And we've popped in the website in order for everyone to be able to find the Sold 100 website. Again, check it out. Very informational. And if you are looking to purchase a home, feel free to reach out to your neighborhood brokers here. They have all of the knowledge and the wealth of information to get you on the right track and situated for success. Yeah. So thank you again. And also thanks to my co-host, Maima. You've done phenomenal for tonight, and thank you for helping me have a successful event here.
Thank you, Danny. It's been my pleasure. And thank you to the Sold 100 team. It's great having you guys.
Great. Well, I wish everyone well. Thank you so much. And until the next Wednesday webinar, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
Bye.